podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to 49 Unbeaten, the official ArsenalVavel podcast. I'm joined once again by Ben and Dan, and we're here to look ahead and preview Arsenal's home game at the Emirates, first game of the season at home against London rivals Chelsea. How are we feeling? I know I'm not massively looking forward to it. I'm quite pessimistic. Dan, how are you? Are you more confident than I am? Are you looking forward to this one?
Yeah, mate, looking forward to it. It will be a very tough game. It's Chelsea. They're a different side. I know we beat them twice last season, but I mean, it's just kind of damage limitations. If we play anything like we did against Brentford, we need to be at our very best if we want anything out of the game for sure. But I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, tickets are starting to sell. So hopefully the crowd will be near enough capacity and we'll have a decent atmosphere to back the boys, and hopefully maybe some new signings unveiled at the Emirates. So will be nice.
Hope so. We do a Man United that bring out our new signings on the pitch and display them. Ben, what about you? First game of the season back at the Emirates, as I say, first time we've seen the Emirates at near enough 60,000 since about March 2020. Can only be a good thing, right? And what a way to introduce fans back against Chelsea, champions of Europe.
Yeah, what a way is probably the right phrase for it. I think I share a lot of Dan's concerns about, it's Chelsea, and even though we beat them twice last season, they've now got a striker who can actually score goals, which is always quite useful. So it's going to be, they're riding a wave of confidence because they're champions of Europe. They've won the Super Cup. We've just lost to Brentford. It's going to be an interesting game. And to touch on the Emirates thing as well, I think I've seen a lot of Chelsea fans buying the £10 Arsenal membership and then buying tickets in our end because they've been available. So there is potentially the chance that there'll be a lot of blue in the Arsenal ends come the weekend.
Yeah, it's a really sort of hard. I don't want to make excuses for us, but I think we've had one of the toughest, apart from Norwich, one of the toughest starts to the league season. Brentford, sort of their first game in the Premier League or top division, whatever, in about 74 years. Their first game at their new stadium with fans properly, a competitive game. Then we play Chelsea, champions of Europe. Then we play Man City, champions of the league, champions of England. So it's a really hard start, and especially for a under pressure team, under pressure manager, which can't really be helped by the form. Obviously, we lost to Brentford, and that was just terrible performance. We didn't look up for it. I didn't think we looked sharp. Obviously, we had the news that Aubameyang and Lacazette were both ill, which I'm rather convinced is either COVID or them pushing for a move out. One of the two. I don't believe it's just general flu that both are main strikers or attacking players have it. Are you sort of feeling the same thing, Dan? Are you just touching on that Brentford game? It was just horrible. Are you sort of that negative as well, like I am, that there's something more to it?
There's only so much you can speculate, isn't it? Aubameyang's called out the media a lot of times saying people talk and people don't actually know. So as an Arsenal fan, we do like to speculate a lot. So I mean, I'm hoping that it's nothing deeper and it is maybe just an illness, but it is incredibly convenient that both of our strikers have picked up, an illness, a mysterious illness before the start of the season, and haven't seen or heard anything of them since. So we'll wait and see what develops with that one.
It felt really just sort of immediate. They were sort of in training, they were pictured in training. Arsenal released pictures of them sort of with the rest of the squad seemingly happy, and then a day later they're sort of nothing happens, and then we find out they're unavailable for Brentford, possibly unavailable for Chelsea. I watched the Brentford game obviously, and there wasn't much that stood out to me. I wasn't really impressed by anyone really. I think Smith Rowe tried. I think we looked better for about 10-15 minutes when Saka came on, but apart from that, I don't know. I think Tierney looked like a captain, but apart from that, there was just no one really impressed me. Even I think Ben White had a rough start to his Arsenal career. I'm not sure it was the game for Sambi. Just with all the Xhaka stuff going on, I don't know. I don't think it was a great Friday night and a terrible start to our Premier League season. There's been a lot of talk around Arteta and a lot of negativity in the press and in the media about Arsenal in the last, 6 days. Is it deserved, or are we sort of all rushing into this a bit too soon? We had a poor season last season, finishing 8th, first time without Europe in over 20 years. Now we've lost our opening game. Is the pressure on him? There's sort of been links that he's almost like we're looking at his replacements. Is that too much too soon, Ben, or have we sort of had that Arteta grace period? We gave him a season after the FA Cup, and now it's crunch time.
I don't think it's crunch time. I think that barring another reincarnation of us coming 15th by December, he'll probably see out the season, and hope for everyone's sake, hopefully it improves and he sees out several more seasons and we're going to be really successful. But the type of profile that he's brought in this summer is not like it doesn't make you think they're going to come in right now and make a massive difference. Like Aaron Ramsdale obviously is massive money, Ben White's massive money. They're both 23. Martin Odegaard's 22, Sambi's 20, Tavares is 19. It seems like a case that they're building something for the future and that they are specific players that are being brought in as building blocks for future Arteta seasons, not necessarily to fire us to second, third this season.
Dan, what about you? You sort of, I always said when Emery came in, after the length of time Wenger was in charge, I said we've got to give him 2 seasons at least, just to let him sort of get into the Premier League, get into Arsenal, just sort of find his way out, sound his way out. And then obviously the start we had under Emery was great, fell off a bit, obviously disappointment in Europe, and then a poor start to the season, and he's gone in December. And then Arteta came in and he wasn't anyone, the fan base, I don't think he was anyone's first choice with the quality of manager available at that time. And then again, he sort of came in and had a good immediate impact in terms of we won a trophy. We didn't finish where we wanted to, 7th, 8th, 7th. And then we give him a full season. And again, it's disappointing. I'm just worried that it's going to get to the point where we're going to do sort of like a Man United did, do what Chelsea did, and just sack managers for the sake of it. But is it becoming a point now where Arteta genuinely might be out of his depth and we might need to start looking, or is it one game in? Is it too early to judge, like Ben?
I agree with what Ben was saying. You can't do anything other than support the man at this stage of the season. I don't care what you feel about him. You need to support him. You need to support the team, and anyone that comes in as well. They need our backing, or realistically, they're not going to want to be here and they're not going to want to push themselves and succeed. So I think I fully back Arteta at this stage of the season. Like Ben said, if we're 15th by December, then serious questions will need to be asked. But I just think we need to see a season of improvement. I'm not delusional. I don't believe that just keeping Arteta is the right idea. But I think after this season, we need to see some serious progression on the pitch. But by the end of it, whether that be top 5 with a trophy or into those European places again, back into Champions League, we need to see progression. We need to see what this process is that everyone talks about. And with Arteta, that's as fans all we need to see. We need to see progress. We need to see the direction, and another season finishing 7th or 8th, or just anywhere outside of at least Europa League places, is just a disappointment. And I think we need to win some big games as well away from home. We need to go toe to toe with the big boys. We can't be having this massive gap. We need to close that gap, which there has been for so many years, unfortunately. And we made progress in some ways last season, beating United and Chelsea away from home. But we definitely need to build upon that and see a lot more consistency, I think, within that Arsenal side.
I think for me, the time was either the end of last season, once we finished 8th, we knew we weren't winning a trophy, before the transfer window, during the Euros. If we were going to do it then, give a manager a transfer window and time to settle in. I think there's no point doing it now, or again, I think if we're doing terribly in bottom half of mid-table, sort of November, December time, then I get it. But if not, I think you give him at least to the end of the season, just because bringing someone mid-season, especially with a team like Arsenal, where we do need a rebuild. I think we're all aware as fans that we've got sort of aging players coming to the end of their time, but a very good crop of young players who deserve a chance and have proven it in the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe, and Tierney still relatively young compared to the rest of the squad. So I think it was either the end of season, or I think he's got to get a season unless we're sort of teetering on relegation again. Coming into this one, obviously we know that Chelsea have strengthened in the area that they needed to. And I don't feel we have. I know we've got a video going out talking about our new signings, and we've mentioned it again here. Tavares, great. We needed a backup left back, but if you're going to give me the option, I'd have rather had someone like Kolasinac. Hear me out, because I know, hear me out. I'm not a massive fan, but he's 19. He's played 18 senior games. There's no proven experience. I'd have had him come in, but I don't want him as a number 2. I'm just worried that that's going to go wrong and it's going to knock his confidence. We didn't need a centre back, really. I don't think.
We did.
No, but I mean, if you look at the end of last season, who we had, we let David Luiz go. That's one centre back gone. We had Saliba come back in from loan. We had Mavropanos come back from loan, and I think there was options there. And I don't think centre-back was a priority.
There's a very specific type of centre-back Mikel Arteta needs, and that was David Luiz, and that now is Ben White. So maybe as any other manager would have looked at it, and as us fans looked at it, we needed that centre midfielder because Basuma was moving. Sorry, not Basuma was moving. Xhaka was leaving, and we wanted Basuma to move in. But with the centre-back kind of thing, the way that Arteta likes to play as those ball-playing centre-backs, and Ben White is very much that ball-playing centre-back that can build the attacks, and I think that is an essential part of Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. So I think that was, it was a priority of that signing, and as well as that, I think, kind of touching on the conversation from earlier with judging Arteta's got 3 of his top choice signings in now. He's got in Ben White was a first choice centre back. Odegaard reportedly was his first choice attacking midfielders. Ramsdale was his first choice backup goalkeeper. He's got those players in now. He's been backed to a certain extent. We need to see improvement now, and we need to see progress.
Yeah, I agree. I think for the system, maybe Ben White was the signing that he wanted, but so I think a right back was more important. I think centre midfield was more important. I think a creative player we saw was far more important, because without Smith Rowe in that team, again, we had Odegaard for the end of last season, but he picked up an injury. I think we don't lack depth, because we've got more players than we can actually be allowed to register. But it's not good enough depth, I don't think. Ben, you're looking very confused at what I'm saying.
I'm not confused. I just think that there's a certain mindset among Arsenal fans, and I've been noticing it the last couple of days, of we can't spend this money here because we need to save this money for this position. And for me, it seems more of a case of, if the players are there to be bought, we're going to spend the money this summer. I think that the 2 positions that arguably we do need are the 2 positions where we also have the most depth in we have 4 right backs at the club. You can't bring a 5th right back in and then register 2 of them. What are you going to do with the other 3? We need to shift 1, maybe 2 of them, but that's been proving difficult. We've bought players around not being able to shift those players. It's the same with striker, Nketiah got injured at probably the worst time for us, just when he was starting to get some momentum in the market. Yeah. Lacazette, God knows what's happening, but I think if we sold those players, the money we've spent on the players so far is not going to affect how much we spend on their replacements. I think it's just a case of we need the squad positions to strengthen there.
On that Tavares thing as well, I think I'm have to disagree with you, Josh. I think Tavares is more than capable for a backup left back. I think he's got every kind of attribute that Mikel Arteta likes in a player. He's fast, he works hard, he puts himself about there, and he's got ability as well. So, like you said, he's only 19. He's got a big future ahead of him. But I feel more than safe and secure if Tierney gets injured, which happened a lot last season, that Tavares can step in and do a good enough job to cover for him. And also as an impact player as well. Arteta might use him, might put him out there and go, put him on maybe the left wing and go, just put yourself about there for the final 20 minutes of a game. I think he looks like a very good player, and he's got a very good attitude as well, which I think Arteta very much likes.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a good signing. I just think it's a number 2. Not that I don't doubt his ability, but almost doubt the fan base that if he makes a mistake so young, we've seen it. Ramsdale's not even an Arsenal player yet, and I know you picked up on this, Dan, as well.
Yeah,
he's getting so much abuse already on Instagram and Twitter. He's not even an Arsenal player yet. He might fail his medical. He might break his leg in training first game of the season, not play for a year, and we're already sort of saying, "Oh, don't come to Arsenal. We don't want you. You're not good enough." And it's like some of the fan base is so sort of toxic, and I think it's almost that expectation of the club we were 20 years ago that competed for league titles. And I don't necessarily know if some of us have accepted that yet. I don't know. It's hard to say, but we're not like a top 2 team at the moment. That might change.
Yeah, we know that though. We know we're not what we used to be. We know we're not what we used to be.
I think some fans still have that level of like, oh, we need like the top elite players that we can get, and when it's not that, we almost find it hard to accept. But more important things to talk about at the moment, they're not officially Arsenal players. I know they're meant to be having their medicals on Thursday. By the time this goes out, they might be Arsenal players. So this conversation might have been redundant. But we're here to talk about Chelsea. Chelsea have signed a goal scorer, a number 9, Premier League experience, European experience, Serie A winner last season, Romelu Lukaku, very dangerous player. And the point I was trying to make was they've targeted the area that they knew they needed to improve most. They've gone out, they've spent the 100 million, and they've got it, and there's no worries about it. And I know we can't compete financially with Chelsea in the grand scheme of things, despite us spending the most money this transfer window so far. But is he going to come back and haunt us in his debut? Is he like the danger man? Ben, I know you've sort of taken a deep dive in your video about looking into Chelsea. Is he your man to watch this weekend?
I think he's certainly one that you need to keep an eye on as much for his off the ball movement as on the ball movement. Whether he'll be the one that finds the back of the net is another matter. I think, I've written a bit about him and been saying, I think that the likes of Timo Werner and Mason Mount are really going to benefit from his ability to move off the ball, drag defenders out of position. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Arsenal revert to a back 3 at the weekend to, try and counter that. I think that he's certainly one that you need to. I mean, it goes without saying he's £100 million. You've got to keep an eye on him. But I think it's important to watch what he does off the ball as much as what he does on the ball.
Danny, would you be surprised if we revert to a back 3 just to counter that threat that Chelsea have, especially with Lukaku? Werner, I know he didn't score the amount of goals that he did in the Bundesliga, but he probably going to turn up against Arsenal and score a hat-trick. We know he can be lethal, especially coming in off that left, playing alongside some of those players. I think, just spoke about Werner. Havertz is dangerous. Mount, we know how dangerous he can be. Lukaku obviously scores goals. He scored goals in the Premier League. There's a lot of players in that Chelsea team that are very dangerous. And would a back 3 sort of counter their attacking prevalence, especially with the players that we might or might not have available?
We could look to match them up. I know. Well, yeah, Chelsea play a back 3, don't they? But we could. I don't know. I think I'd be surprised if we did, just out of the fact that that's not what we. I don't know. We've played this system now. We've kind of stuck to it. We're going to make it work. And I know Arteta, I think, as you lads would agree with me, is a very stubborn character, and I don't think he'd just want to change something like that. And that's not necessarily a negative thing. That can be a manager's star quality, or it can be their downfall at the end of the day. So I don't think Arteta's going to change. I think he wants to make this system work. I would, yeah. In answer to your question, I would be surprised if he went to back three. But there again, he could do. I mean, Tierney and left centre back. We know he's done it before in the FA Cup, and then potentially Tavares on the left wing back. That would be an interesting, exciting combination to see. But I'd like to see us stick to that back four. See Ben White get some more minutes, see what he can do. Ben White against Lukaku, that's one hell of a battle. I know I think you guys will probably agree with me, but that Brentford game, I thought Ivan Toney dominated and bullied Ben White in the areas, and Lukaku's just an even bigger threat. So you probably see Pablo Mari and Ben White. Oh goodness, you can just see the kind of scene.
That's what I mean. I think a back three works. I mean, Ben White's obviously better in a back three, or more used to playing in a back three, and then you've got. I mean, for the idea of Callum Chambers at right back against Chelsea on the break fills me with dread. I'll be honest. If you could pick from the entire squad and everybody was fit and everybody was happy, etc., I'd be looking at Maitland-Niles back at right wing back and then get Rob Holding, Ben White, and Pablo Mari, or maybe even Callum Chambers at centre back.
Pablo Mari worries me. I can't lie. He does really worry me now. Like we didn't really see much of him, I guess, before, but the way he's looked so far this season, he's worrying me. But it is still early days. We've still got a chance to see if he can turn that around, and I really hope he can do. But he is starting to slightly worry me in some of his performances.
Yes, he did get found out against Brentford. I think a lot of our players did, especially that back line. And again, it almost sort of brings up the debate again of signings in certain areas that we haven't been able to achieve yet. Again, maybe through lack of departures. Let's get onto our predicted team. We are assuming that Lacazette and Aubameyang is still out. We haven't had official team news out at the time of recording, so this is presuming that players who played against Brentford are available and those who didn't aren't. It's also on the bravado that Ramsdale and Odegaard haven't been announced yet, despite their sort of medicals and contracts apparently happening Thursday as we record. So we're discounting them from being available as well. So in goal, speaks for itself. It's going to be Leno. It's not going to be a Cuenco, or it's not going to be Renarson. Agreed?
Yeah.
Simple. Right. Defence. Ben, do you think we're going to play a back three, or are you going to play a back four, or should we sort of all agree that it's going to be a back four?
I mean, we can agree it's going to be a back four. I think back three is a bit of a rogue shout. That's what I do personally. But
It is a rogue. Yeah, fine. So Leno in goal. Does the defence stay the same, Dan?
I don't see it being any different to Chambers, White, Mari, Tierney.
Ben, I'm sort of thinking Bellerin might get a run out.
I mean, he does always turn up against Chelsea, to be fair.
He does like playing Chelsea.
I'm thinking it's going to be anyone but Chambers. I just, as I said before the Brentford game, he gives me serious like Jefferson Montero 2.0 vibes, and it terrifies me. And if Chelsea have got, I know Ziyech is out and Pulisic is a doubt, but they've got some quick players, especially if Werner plays on the left.
There's a lot of players there that.
Yeah, exactly. They've got a lot of talent that can play on that left-hand side, and that just worries me.
So, what are you going for Chambers, Bellerin, Cedric? Who else we got?
I'll go for Bellerin. I'll go for Bellerin. I think Maitland-Niles would be my ideal shot, but I'll go for Bellerin.
I think Bellerin might play as well. Are you happy to settle Gripted or Bellerin, Dan? Are you?
Yeah, no, we can settle for it. But on that Bellerin thing, it sounds like he doesn't want to be here at the moment. So I don't know if I wouldn't play him if he doesn't want to be here. But based off not wanting to cause any arguments, we'll go for Bellerin. Yeah, go on.
I think it could be. Just have a hunch that it might be Bellerin. Centre backs, does Ben White play again? I think he has to, doesn't he, for 50 million?
Ben White and Pablo Mari, I can't see it being any different again.
No, I wasn't convinced by Mari either. I thought he looked... He didn't look at it. He didn't look like a Premier League defender against Brentford. I don't want to slander him.
Even pre-season against Tottenham and Chelsea in the Mind series seriously worried me. Like, Son's goal, he just kind of fell over on the floor in front of him and left that massive gap. And then the Chelsea game, they were catching us on the break time and time again. So, I mean, there's been some seriously worrying moments, but again, like I said, I'm hopeful Pablo Mari can pick up some form. And like last season, I was really impressed with him. I think in Europa League, which I guess potentially could be his level, he showed some really high quality performances. Like, reminded me a lot of Mertesacker in the way he would apprehend play, and kind of his reading of the game was very good. But I don't know if it's just pre-season, start of the season, getting it out of the system. But hopefully he can kick on from here.
See, the one who headed it backwards in that Europa League game where we...
That was Tobias.
Yeah, that was Tobias. Do you not remember the TikTok?
I don't want to...
Then this is becoming harder and harder to know if we don't keep Tobias or not. During the game, and then the TikTok, I made a TikTok of the tweet, and then it was the "oh no" sound, and then the video clip of him just heading it backwards for them to score.
We need to get back on that TikTok trend. Right, who's playing in midfield? Is it going to be Xhaka and Sambi again? I mean, I'm holding out hope for Torreira and Xhaka. I know you two hate me for suggesting Torreira.
I don't think Torreira can physically play.
No.
Oh, is he not?
I believe he's isolated at the moment.
Is he isolated?
In London.
I know.
I mean, to be fair, he probably would end up about 2 meters from all of Chelsea's midfielders, but still.
I don't know. I had a feeling that I don't know. I was just holding out hope. He's back in London. He might be available to play. But
Josh, he's not trained. He's not trained. If he played the full
season,
if he played the full pre-season, Josh, leave it, Josh. I know it's heartbreaking for you, but if he'd played the full pre-season and like the first game of the season, I'd be like, maybe he'll be involved. But he's not even played a minute, and he's only just come back from Disneyland, so he needs a moment to.
Is it going to be Xhaka and Sambi then?
We need to move him
yes.
on. I know Fabrizio.
It's going to be Xhaka and Sambi.
Fabrizio Romano said that we are listening to offers for Willian, Bellerin, and Torreira. So hopefully those 3 deals can be concluded and we can move on, because I think Josh does really need to move on.
Xhaka and Sambi?
Yeah, I can't see any different. Yeah,
fair. Number 10 is, well, not number 10, number 8 attacking midfielder, number 10 behind the striker, Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
No Odegaard in the team yet. Probably going to be Smith Rowe.
Hopefully a little unveiling would be quite nice.
I think it might be, yeah. I think that could happen.
Him and Ramsdale come out.
Yeah, that'd be...
Do some shooting practice at half time.
Now, here's the interesting one. We are assuming, obviously, there's no Aubameyang, there's no Lacazette, just because reportedly they're ill. I think it was Chris Wheatley, and it might have been Chris.
Yeah, it was.
Said that it's unlikely they'll feature. So that sort of leaves us again with Pepe, Saka, Martinelli, Balogun as our attacking options. I don't want to be too harsh on him. I know it was his Premier League debut. I wasn't impressed by Balogun. I know he looked good in Europa League. I know he's looked good for the youth teams, but he struggled. And I'd have much preferred Martinelli playing through the middle. We'll start on the right. Pepe or Saka on the right?
Saka on the right, and then Pepe on the left, I think, is what I'd go for.
Ben, are we in agreement?
I'd have gone the other way, but the two players are the same.
Yeah,
they can interchange during the game.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not fussed.
We'll have Pepe and Saka, and then who goes in as our striker through the middle?
It's got to be Balogun. It's got to be Balogun. Sorry, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a fan of Martinelli down the middle personally. I'm really not a fan of it. I know. Again, he's only played there like a couple of times, but he just looked incredibly. I don't think he's up to the physicality of the Premier League for some of these centre backs in the middle. Again, he could prove me wrong, and I hope he does. But I think Balogun's got to start there just because he's a natural centre forward, and I think he will. But again, we've got to give the guy a chance. He wants to play football, and he's getting the chance to play it. And as long as Lacazette and Aubameyang aren't in the side, then he's got that opportunity to stake a claim and say to Arteta, look, this is the type of player I am. Yes, I'm still young, but this is how good I can play. And if he scores a goal against Chelsea, there's no better ways to do that. So I'd personally start Balogun again. What an opportunity for him, by the way.
I know he signed the contract extension for a reason. There's a reason that he committed to Arsenal for the long term. He probably could have gone elsewhere, someone like Dortmund or Leipzig, and done really well. Ben, would you start Balogun? Would you start Martinelli? Would you start maybe Pepe through the middle and have Martinelli come in on the wing? Or are you on the same Balogun? Balogun has to start because he's our only natural centre forward.
I'd go for Martinelli personally. I know we're going to end up sidelining one of Dan's picks again, because I know you'll go for Martinelli as well. I do understand the Balogun thing, but I just think that chucking him in against Chelsea, as we find out basically every week, Martinelli did score against Chelsea that one time. So I think that Martinelli's more likely to play through the middle, just because I just it's such a baptism of fire giving Balogun another game at striker on his own against Chelsea, because he'll be up there for so long by himself. And I think that Martinelli's energy in the press will probably be what gets him selected ahead of Balogun, personally.
It's a tricky one. I hate to do this to you, Dad. I'm gonna have to agree with Ben
It's
again.
okay, mate. If you prefer Martinelli up front, that's personally fine. That's perfectly up to you.
I just think he's got a bit more experience playing in the Premier League. We obviously know what he can do against Chelsea, that one game at Stamford Bridge. There's something that I think Martinelli might play, or Arsenal keeping secrets from us and Aubameyang and Lacazette are fit. But we're getting there not, so I think we will go for Gabby down the middle. Going on that then, if that team starts, Leno, Bellerin, White, Mari, Tierney, Xhaka, Sambi, Smith Rowe, Pepe, Saka, and Martinelli, what will the score be on Sunday evening, Dan?
Oh, you had to come to me first, didn't you? Again, not predicting an Arsenal. I know we've just started the season, and we've already had a underwhelming, first disappointing game. I will predict an Arsenal 1-0 to the Arsenal. We're not losing this game. We're gonna. I don't know. We've got to be playing at our very best if we want to get anything from the game. I'll predict 1-0. I think, I don't know, Lukaku just scares me. His physicality and his just presence in that centre forward role. He's massive as well, isn't he? So what a player, what an absolute player, and I think someone we'll have to have some sort of game plan for. But I think we have to be at our very, very best if we want anything out of the game. So yes, I will say 1-0 to the Arsenal on that game.
Are you sort of putting out as much optimism in the universe as Dan is, Ben, or are you going to sort of settle for more of a potentially realistic, dare I say, outcome?
I'm going to go for 2-2. I think that's probably the safest bet I can give, because I can see us conceding at least once. But I can also see us scoring. Like we have scored 4 times in a row against Chelsea now, or maybe more.
Yeah.
So you know we are good at finding the back of the net, and I think there are things to be exploited in that Chelsea defence. Hopefully it comes out and we win 4-2 or whatever. But I think that 2-2 is probably my safest bet for the moment.
Josh, you're not allowed to predict a loss, by the way, or we're removing you from this channel.
It is a hard one. I agree with Ben. I think we will concede at least one. Just Lukaku against White and Mari terrifies me. I don't know. I would never predict a loss on this channel. I would never say we're going to lose. But I am relatively negative.
We know.
I'll say 1-1 just because I don't know if we have it in us to score more than one at the moment. So I will say 1-1, and I think again, like Ben, I think that's a safe bet. I think we'll concede, but I think we could score against that Chelsea defence. I know they're not the best defence in the league either. So we'll say 1-1, and we will hope that we have as much confidence in the team come Sunday afternoon as Dan does. So that is it. For this episode, we've given our team preview, we've given our match predictions, we've spoken about Brentford, we've spoken about the new signings coming in. Make sure to check out our video. We're going more in depth, especially into Odegaard and Ramsdale, how they can fit into the team, what they're going to bring, and again touch on sort of building for the future with these with these signings, adding into the players that we've already got. So make sure to check that out after you've watched this video. And let's just get behind the team for Sunday. I know we're not all the most happy we've been in a while with Arsenal, with stuff going on, but again, we're all Arsenal fans at the end of the day. We've got a massive London derby coming up yet again. That's 2 back-to-back, playing at the Emirates for the first time this season in a competitive game, and there's a lot to be excited about. So let's get behind the team, let's support everyone, and let's hope for a win on Saturday. So Sunday. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, however you've listened to us today. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, let us know your thoughts, follow us on Twitter. All our socials will be in the description below, and have a good weekend and try and enjoy it, and don't focus on only too much until the time comes. See you later.
Find more great shows or join the team at sport-social.co.uk.